Next to the church's building, if a church owns a pipe organ, it is probably the second most valuable asset that a church has. Sometimes it's actually even the most valuable asset, depending on the value of the building. It is amazing, though, how many people don't know about the pipe organ sitting at the middle of their sanctuary. So these videos are going to be about the pipe organ. Hi, I'm Choirmaster Zack, an organist and choir director with a passion for the German Baroque music of Bach and his contemporaries. Subscribe to my channel to watch me perform, as well as discuss music theory, history, and hymnody through the evolution of the Christian Church. Welcome to Choirmaster Zack's YouTube channel. I am Choirmaster Zack. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button below and make sure that you click the bell for notification of when I upload new videos. So we're going to be talking about the pipe organ today, and it is an amazing instrument. Some people call it the king of instruments, and there's a reason for that, which we'll get to later. This is going to be a series of 3 short talks about the pipe organ. And the very first thing that we have to decide is what sort of instrument the pipe organ is. So we have to decide what other kinds of instruments there are. So let's talk about instruments. First, we have string instruments like the violin, or the guitar, or maybe a cello. There's lots and lots of different string instruments. There are different ways of playing string instruments. You can either pluck, or you can bow, or you can strum. Another type of instrument is one that we blow wind through, like a flute, or a recorder. Another type of instrument is what we would call a reed instrument. A reed instrument works on the principle of amplifying vibrations of some sort. Examples of this are the trumpet or an oboe. And then finally, we have instruments that we hit. So we now know that we have instruments that we stroke, pluck, strum, or that we blow through, or that we cause vibrations from, or that we hit. So we could also classify instruments by the interface that we use. For instance, a harpsichord, a piano, and an organ all share the same keyboard layout. But are they the same instrument? Well, if we look at the inside of the piano, we will notice that the inside of the piano has strings like a guitar, but I'm not plucking them, I'm not strumming them, I'm not bowing them. There are little hammers that are hitting the strings, meaning that a piano is actually a percussion instrument, more like a drum. Where a harpsichord, if we watch the inner workings of a harpsichord has little quills that are called plectrums, and they actually reach up, grab the string, and pluck it. So the harpsichord works very much like a harp. We're plucking the string. So what type of instrument is the organ? So we've heard a violin, we've heard a recorder, we've heard a tambourine and maracas, and we've heard the piano. Does the organ sound like any of those? It's not. Have we figured out what type of instrument the organ is? I'll give you a few minutes to try and figure that out. Let's go and look inside the organ to see if we can get a better idea of what type of instrument it is. To figure out what type of instrument the organ is, we're going to have to look inside the organ just like we looked inside the piano. So, most people don't get to see this view of the organ that are sitting down in the sanctuary. Let's take a look at the inside of the organ. This is what organists call the organ chamber. And you can see that the organ is made up of thousands of tiny pipes, hence why it's called a pipe organ. And these pipes act just like a flute does. Air blows through, comes out of here, and it vibrates the column of air for the length of pipe. And you can see we have some very large pipes, and we have some very, very, very small pipes. So the organ is actually a wind instrument and needs to be played like a wind instrument, not like a percussion instrument like the piano is. So these are massively big rooms up where you can't see them from the sanctuary, but all of the pipes are in here, and this is what makes the sound. These are called flute pipes, and the metal pipes behind you are called reed pipes, which make a vibration noise. And just so you can see where we are, we learned that the pipe organ was a wind instrument. It's not a piano, it's not a harpsichord, it's more like a flute. Although it does have some reed stops in it. And today we're going to learn about how the pipe organ functions all together. But to do that, we have to go down to the console, which is down there. So, while the organ keyboard looks the same as the piano, it is a vastly different instrument. The organ is a wind instrument, meaning that unlike the piano, when you're playing a note, you can't lift your hands or the sound stops. On the piano, the sustain pedal allows you to lift your hands and move them. So that an organist has to learn a different method of pressing the keys than a pianist learns. A pianist moves their hands around the keyboard, an organist slides their hands around the keyboard and uses the stopping of sound when they pick up their hands to note a beat or a rhythm, where on the piano, it's when the hands go down that the beat and the rhythm happens. So there are two different philosophies when you're playing the organ as opposed to playing the piano. Additionally, I have all of these buttons, knobs, and feet pedals that organists get to use. For instance, If I put on this stop up in the organ chamber, if we look at the different pipes in the organ, each one of these rows of pipes is a different sound that's controlled by one of those stop tablets. That would be the open diapason, which is right here. Or if I put on this stop up in the organ chamber, those are the trumpet stops that you heard just there. And so an organist's job is to mix the different sounds together to make sounds like this. But additionally, I have lots more things. On the piano, I can play harder to make the hammers strike the strings harder. But here, I can't control the volume by how hard I play. The volume is controlled by these pedals down here. How does the organist control the volume of the organ? Because those trumpet stops were really, really loud. Organists control the volume by a series of shutters in front of the pipes. When the shutters are closed, the sound is quiet. When the shutters are open, the sound is loud. Additionally, an organist not only has more than one keyboard, as we see, and there's a reason for that. The top keyboard is controlled in the swell chamber. The bottom keyboard controls the grate chamber, which is over there. But most organs also have an additional keyboard. And an organist plays this keyboard with their feet. So an organist's job is to mix all of these different sounds together and then to play so that we get a nice coherent sound. So, through these talks, I hope that you've learned something about the organ, and I hope that you now know there's a vast difference between instruments even when they share a keyboard layout.